Hey everyone! I got into Baldur's Gate 3 speedrunning recently after playing through 5 campaigns on my own, and the community here is constantly discovering new tech and new routes, and one trick in particular, called the window fling, is under question as to whether it should even be allowed. And so I thought I'd make a video covering it, first just to show it off because it's cool, but also to see what opinions people have on it. This whole video is spoiler free, but of course, if you haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet, you should. The window fling is a simple trick that is based off of flinging items in the game. In this game, whenever you try to move an item too far, it looks like nothing happens, but the game stores a node at the position you tried to move something to. Then after trying to move an item during its animation, it will instead move to the stored node from before. This means you can stuff a dead ally in a box and fling them anywhere in vision in a technique called shadowboxing. As long as the dead character triggers either a cutscene or a waypoint, the rest of your party can progress through the game. Now, the key idea used to be the vision part of this trick. Typically, you would need a precise lineup with only a few pixels far in the distance to fling about 500 blocks. But it's been known for a while that Baldur's Gate actually tracks your cursor position outside of the game window, but treats it as if it was still in the world. And that is the idea behind the window fling. In fact, putting the game in top-down tactical view, zooming all the way out, and shrinking the game window to 1/10 its full screen height allows for some pretty absurd distances to be reached by the cursor. Distances of several thousand units are pretty easy to achieve, and even allows access to entirely different maps of the game. Now, this idea has been known for a while, but only recently we've been able to find the precise positions and lineups necessary to use a window fling as a time save to an existing route. And so the question has been posed, should this be legal? And for that, we could look at some other speedrun games for what they allow. Now, I'm most familiar with Minecraft Java speedruns, and boy do they use a lot of window resizing and external programs. It's very common to use an AutoHotkey based macro to cycle through game instances, and even resize the game window at any time to view certain details better. Zoom macros and advanced calculators are common, and while runners aren't using these to get their cursor outside the game window, I feel most runners from this background would find no issue with a single button resize macro as long as everything was being recorded continuously. Now, taking a look at a game probably most similar to Baldur's Gate 3, we can look at Divinity Original Sin 2 speedruns. A lot of the techniques are similar between the two games, and window resizing has already been addressed. The aspect ratio must be locked, and the cursor cannot leave the game window, so window flings seem like a definite no. But the issue is here, the reasoning behind the restrictions in the Divinity games is a pretty different story. Now, I'm no expert in these runs, but it sounds like the more stretched your resolution was, the more it would remove fog on the edges of the screen. So this rule was first put into place to prevent having to play the game in an unwatchable way. But another huge difference is that the cursor didn't register outside the game window. Items could be flung by moving the cursor position quickly. So moving your cursor outside the window and back would teleport it, allowing you to skip regular item flings. But in Baldur's Gate 3, it does track. And it's exactly this position that we can now use a display capture to record to make sure the runner is actually moving there while the game window is shown on screen the whole time. So, should this tech be allowed? Now, I would say yes, but I'm biased from developing this tech, and there's a lot to consider when allowing new things like this. I personally like to ask these 3 questions to help make that call. First, is it accessible? And as of now, yes. This trick only requires a single monitor and can be done on low-end PCs. At first, we were using an AutoHotkey script to resize the game window, but if you use a program first to define the window size, you then actually can just use the built-in Windows plus down and Windows plus up shortcuts to size the window down and back up, or even simpler, you could just use the buttons on the window itself. So it actually doesn't need any external programs. Of course, I don't know how Mac users would deal with this, but listen, we can make an exception if anyone's really speedrunning on a Mac, okay? The next question is it verifiable? And mostly yes. There may need to be some restrictions on what size the window can be sized to, like what has been done in Minecraft speedruns, but a display capture is able to record the game window, cursor, and desktop background continuously. Of course, I'm not a verifier, so I could see some argument that a small game window makes it hard to verify, but to be honest, the areas you have to hit are pretty lenient for this trick, and this seems like a very difficult part of the run to try and cheat. So I would say for this question, mostly yes. And last, and the biggest one, is it within the spirit of the run, and is it fun? And this one is all feel and opinion, but I would definitely say yes. One of the things I love about glitch speedruns is just flinging stuff and teleporting across the map, and I feel like exploiting window size is the exact type of thing that makes glitch speedrunning fun. And having done them in real runs now a few times, I gotta say it's very satisfying to pull off, to just whip a dead ally 1,000 units away with whatever custom background I want. Anyway, that's it. Wanted to make this short video. If you're watching and have any strong opinions one way or the other, I'd be curious to know in the comments, because the decision to allow new tech often comes down to community opinion. So as always, thanks for watching.